Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I'm going to be speaking on the topic of secularism. Secularism is an indifference to or rejection of religion. Many people in society, especially politicians, like to blame society's problem on the increase of secularism. It is evident that there is an increase, and many of you have probably noticed this. I would guess that many of you have probably known of an atheist or non-religious person in your lifetime, or you may consider yourself to be one. But this increase causes speculation on how secularism impacts society. And I'm here to claim that society suffers little from an increase of secularism because society can function without a religious-based moral code, and a rise in secularism has little negative effect on the quality of life. I'm going to start off with my first point, that society can function without a religious-based moral code. Our society already has moral tendencies due to evolution, and because of this, a religious-based moral code is not necessary for society's function. The origin or start of morality evolved in early humans to help them survive and flourish. These morals allowed humans to group live and advance their biological needs. Dennis Krebs, a professor of psychology with a PhD from Harvard, states in his text, Origins of Morality, that the positive and negative feelings that early humans experienced contribute to a more general sense that pro-social forms of conduct are right and constitute virtues, and that antisocial forms of conduct are wrong and constitute vices. That those who behave in pro-social ways are good, and that those who behave in antisocial ways are bad. This is why people from all cultures consider altruistic, cooperative, honest, respectful, and temperate forms of conduct right, and all people consider selfish, aggressive, uncooperative, dishonest, disrespectful, and self-indulgent forms of conduct wrong. The earliest civilizations needed morals in order to be successful, and if they did not have morals, they simply failed. It is natural and ingrained in us to have morals as humans. We have the basis to lead a successful society due to this. Also, having an institution that is based on moral code to guide and help keep order is important. This is the reason why many argue that religion is needed for the purpose of teaching morals. But we have society's justice system that acts as this institution. For example, basic laws that are found universally include outlawing stealing and murder, which are universally known as morally wrong. This type of system encourages moral acts and discourages immoral acts for the collective good of society. So secular people have a moral system to follow. Statistics posted on the Nation Masters website, a website that compares statistics worldwide, compared international homicide rates between over 200 countries. Homicide is universally known as immoral. These statistics show that countries such as Brazil, India, and Mexico, respectively, have some of the most highest homicide rates in the world. A poll that was conducted by Gallup, a leading research website on public attitudes, asked the question, is religion important to your daily life in over 100 countries? The poll suggested that 87% of Brazil's, 90% of India's, and 73% of Mexico's population answered yes to this question. This shows that these countries are predominantly religious, but have some of the highest homicide rates in the world. The opposite is also true. The most non-religious places based on the same Gallup's poll was Estonia, Sweden, and Denmark. These countries ranked in the lower 33% out of 200 countries in the frequency of homicide. This evidence shows that secularism isn't necessarily increasing society's moral issues. Therefore, secularism isn't harming society, and society can function without a religious-based moral code. My next point is, a rise in secularism has little negative effect on the quality of life. It is important to note that the quality of life can be measured through the well-being of society, because well-being is a state of being happy, healthy, and or prosperous. In the 2018 World Happiness Report, written by a group of independent experts, summarizes the level of happiness in different countries based on their quality of life. This report is based on Gallup's World Poll surveys, where the research was conducted by asking members of the country to rank their quality of life on a scale of 1 being the lowest to 10 being the highest. The report stated that in the poll, 4 different countries have held the top spot for the highest level of happiness in the 4 most recent reports, which included Denmark, Switzerland, Norway, and now Finland. All the top countries tend to have high values for all of the 6 key variables that have been found to support well-being, which include income, healthy life expectancy, social support, freedom, and generosity. This shows that secularism doesn't actually have a negative effect on the quality of life. This is because these top countries are actually both more secular and happy compared to the rest of the world. Phil Zuckerman, a psychologist, writes in his article, Secular Societies Fare Better Than Religious Societies, about the consequences secularism has in the United States by explaining, the correlation is clear and strong. The more secular tend to fare better than the more religious on a vast host of measures. You name it, On nearly every sociological measure of well-being, you're most likely to find more secular states with the lowest levels of faith in God and the lowest rates of church attendance faring the best, and the most religious states with the highest levels of church attendance and faith in God faring the worst. This evidence supports that secularism is not necessarily or hurting the quality of life. In conclusion, society suffers little from an increase of secularism. Thank you.
Can you send me that?
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, can you send me that? That was like pretty good. I want to
Oh.
read it on my own time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Natalie, the proposition is very clear. There's an excellent preview of the contents. There are only 2 supporting points, so that's pretty straightforward. I think you need to talk a little bit more about why this is a controversial issue so that we know what it is that motivates your talking about this and justifies our listening to it. Kind of give us a little bit more context for the argument. You signpost the first point pretty clearly, and then you've got an explanation as to what the theory is behind morality and rules that has nothing to do with faith in religion or any other kind of institution like that, rather that it's kind of endemic to social systems. And that's explained pretty well. The demonstration of it, I'm not sure, is quite as strong. I thought that you had some better evidence later on in the presentation that seemed to support the position that you're taking there. When you're doing the nation-by-nation comparison, I understand the argument that's being made there. I do think that you are relying on some generalizations. We're going to be talking about cause-effect reasoning, for instance, and we'll also be looking at inductive and deductive reasoning, and there are a couple of issues on these points that there could be potential problems on, but based on looking at them at the moment, I think that you've found good evidence to support a general conclusion about the absence of secularism having little impact on morality or, for example, negative consequences. I just enjoy hearing the World Happiness Survey or report. That's just a funny name for something. I'm going, okay. That was kind of an amusing source citation, that there is actually an organization or institution that's devoted to that sort of thing. And then you've got the examples again. It's almost a repeat of what you had said earlier. I like the fact that you finish off with the proposition restated so we know exactly what your position is, and it's delivered pretty effectively. You look at us for the most part, and you seem to know what your argument is. And that's something that builds some credibility. Thank you.